So if you put new drives in the NAS and turn it on, you'll see this error message, which is absolutely fine. What you need to do is turn it off, and then with a paper clip, put it into the reset hole on the back, hold it down, keep it held down when you press the power button to turn it back on again, and keep the paper clip held down until you see the boot menu. Then you can release the paper clip. So now what I have to do is press this button here to choose what I want to do. So I can do normal, which I don't want because I just put new drives in. Factory default, OS reinstall if I've got old drives that I want to reinstall on, skip volume check, memory test, normal. So I need to do factory default, and then to select it, it's a bit confusing. You have to use a paper clip with the bent end to push the reset button on the back once, and that's like the OK option. So here is my ReadyNAS, here's the reset hole. So I push that, just briefly, and that's basically done. Yes, I've chosen the option of factory reset. So this is going to take a while. It's going to go through and wipe everything. It's going to wipe the two disks that are installed. So mine are 2.5 inch at the moment, just resting on here. That's why this is sideways. There's only two of them, but I could have used 3 or 4. And it's going to wipe those two disks now and copy the software that's already on here onto those disks. Normally you wouldn't have this upside down, sideways, but because I'm only using 2.5 drives just to demo this, they're smaller. They can't have them in the cages properly. So you needed to have a network cable plugged into the back of the NAS, and once it's finished booting, it will show this message. And what that means is you need to install Java on your machine if you haven't already got it, and then run the NetGear Radar software that will look for any devices. And it will pick it up looking something like this, and it will give you the IP address and everything else that we don't need yet. And once it's finished syncing and checking all the drives, it will let you click on the initialize or setup or something like that, and you can choose what type of RAID you want to use. I only had 2 drives and I wanted to just set it up briefly as mirrored, which is what I've done here, but you could use the X-RAID NetGear type 1, which automatically changes depending on how many drives you have, and it will do kind of RAID 5 if you've got 3 or more drives and mirrored otherwise, and things like that. There's lots of guides and information on that on the internet. And then after you finish that, it will take a little while and it will wipe all the drives and set up the RAID for you. Depending on how many drives you have and all the rest, it can take a while. And at the same time, it will kind of tell you on the front of the computer what it's doing, whether it's testing or resyncing or copying the software from the NAS onto the new RAID array that it's set up for you. And eventually, once it has finished creating the RAID, it will tell you the IP address that it's connected to. You can also see that in the radar software. It will tell you the IP address and also the kind of sync status, because that takes ages, but you can still configure it and use it while it's syncing. Because they use a slightly older version of TLS, which is like internet encryption, you will have to tell Firefox to allow the slightly older version of TLS, so minimum version, and enable what's called deprecated, which is kind of just slightly out of date. It doesn't mean it's bad. There's not a problem with it. You might be able to do this with Chrome or Edge, I don't know, but you can definitely do it with Firefox, which is my main browser. And then when you connect to the IP address, it will say, oh, are you sure you want to do this because it's slightly older? And then it will say, oh, it's self-signed. It's not signed by an official external company, which is just absolutely fine. So you do advanced and then continue. And then it will kind of load up the setup screen and let you set everything up with usernames and passwords and all the rest, and recovery email addresses and everything else. And you can also set it up to email you if there's any problem on the NAS, which is really useful. And then you'll get the kind of summary screen, which isn't super useful. But if you go to Configure, you get loads of options that you can use to see everything. If you go to the info tab, you can see the smart status of every drive. You can choose whether you want the media server, the FTP server, the Samba server, which is the kind of one that Windows accesses, or SMB they call it. If you want to share it with a Windows drive, or NFS if you want to share it with a Linux machine. There's all sorts of amazing things that you can set the NAS up for. And if you want it to have what's called a static IP address, which is where it doesn't automatically change all the time, you can also do that with a little cog on the Ethernet settings.